Breaking news. Fish on the Colorado River are appearing dead around the riverbank.
Yes, Danica, but have you ever thought the fish may just be tired and sleeping?
Alex, fish don't sleep on land.
Yeah, but they could be adapting to the land.
Anyways, we have Dr. Scientist on FaceTime telling us the progress on what is happening in the fish and what is causing them to die.
In case you haven't heard from Alex and Danica, there has been sightings of dead fish appearing on the riverbank. But do not worry, my colleagues and I are working hard to study the fish and the causes of death. We are working against the clock to understand what killed the fish and if there has been any chemicals that can affect people.
Well, you heard it here. Dr. Scientist is working as hard as they can to figure out what is causing the fish to die.
And now for my favorite story of the day, a local farmer has been having an amazing harvest.
John the farmer has been taking the easy road using this chemical he has been using in order to keep the pests from eating his crops.
And local news has been able to get a hold of this farmer for an interview.
Hi.
Hello. Would you like to explain how you got rid of all the pests eating your crops?
Why, of course. I recently came upon this amazing chemical that acts as a pesticide and it works really well. I found this chemical during my time in the 20th century. It's called endosulfane. It's highly effective and it removes all insects from my crops. Yeah.
I am so sorry to interrupt, but I just heard news from the producer that Dr. Scientist and their team of scientists have discovered what is causing the fish kill.
Yes, and now I give a warm welcome to Dr. Scientist again.
We have found that the pesticide endosulfan has been contaminating the water. This chemical is highly banned and is toxic in most places.
How would this chemical get into the river water?
We are suggesting that the endosulfan on the crops would be washed away by the rain and wind, pushing it into the river.
How did you find out that endosulfan was a contaminant?
Well, we have been collecting water samples and used an organic solvent, like hexane, to move the pesticide into the solvent layer to concentrate it. Since the extract might contain other organic materials, we purify the substance using columns. A small amount of the cleansed substance is extracted into the gas chromatography. The different chemicals travel through the column, and endosulfan appears at characteristic retention times. The separated compounds are detected using an electron capture detector. By comparing peak sizes and calibration standards, we have determined that there's around 5 to 10 micrograms per liter. This is enough endosulfan to evidently kill fish. Endosulfan is an organochloride pesticide and is commonly used on crops to kill insects. Although effective against pests, it is extremely dangerous when introduced to the aquatic ecosystems.
Its molecular structure allows it to persist in water and soil for long periods of time. Because endosulfan is not highly soluble, it can attach itself to the sediment and slowly spread throughout the river system. As concentrations will increase, marine organisms absorb the toxin into their bodies.
Endosulfan, like I've said before, is a highly toxic chemical as it acts as a neurotoxic to human and marine life. Endosulfan blocks gated chloride channels in nerve cells, leading the brain not to be able to calm itself down, furthermore leading to seizures, tumors, respiratory failure, and death.
Scientists now believe the contamination may not have occurred naturally.
Investigators began searching nearby agricultural areas after discovering unusually high chemical concentrations downstream.
As we follow the water trail left behind by recent storms, we notice runoff channels leading directly from farmland towards the Colorado River.
Through my experiments involving rain patterns and contamination timelines, I analyzed how endosulfan may have entered the Colorado River. Over the past few weeks, this region experienced unusually heavy rainfall combined with strong winds. These weather conditions greatly increase the risk of agricultural runoff. When large amounts of rain fall into the farmland treated with pesticides, chemicals resting on the soil surface can dissolve or be carried away into nearby streams and rivers. Wind can also spread contaminated soil particles over long distances. According to my data, spikes in endosulfan concentration occurred shortly after each major storms. This correlation strongly suggests that runoff from nearby farmlands transported the chemical into the Colorado River. The molecular properties of endosulfan also explain why the contamination persisted. Because the compound breaks breaks down slowly, it remains active in the river long enough to poison fish and other aquatic organisms.
Ma'am, records show endosulfan was recently used on your crops. Were there any accidents following the storm?
Environmental officials are now investigating whether the overflow contributed to the contamination entering the Colorado River.
This sample was taken directly from runoff channels near the farmland.
Well, this was wildly entertaining. Unfortunately, my journalism degree did not cover everything that the scientists and researchers were talking about. But at least we realized that the endosulfan was the primary cause. To be honest, I just played along with everything else. What a shame. But I hope at least our viewers understood the sciencey language that they used.
I also hope that they understood, Alex. But at the end of the day, we all think about the same. While we know endosulfan affects fish, will it affect human beings as well? And how does it actually fish kill? This will be explained by EPA scientists in this urgent and breaking segment of our news. Real eyes, real eyes, real eyes.
Hello, Dr. Scientist. A lot of people in Riverwood are worried about the water and the endosulfan affecting it. People are scared that the endosulfan that is affecting the fish will also affect human beings. What is your opinion on that?
Yes. First of all, I want to say hello to you guys and our dearest viewers. Our division is working very hard on this matter, but we already have news for you, and they are unfortunately bad news. First, I want to explain how endosulfan is resulting in fish death. Endosulfan is a strong nervous system poison. It can cause severe biochemical and behavior disruptions.
Wait, did you say that it's a strong nervous system poison?
Yes, that is true. I said
Could you
it.
please elaborate on that?
Of course, that's what I was going to do. So, as endosulfan is a strong neurotoxin, in fish, symptoms can manifest as restless, violent swimming, convulsions, and tremors. This is caused because endosulfan is affecting GABA-gated chloride channels. You can think of GABA receptors like a brake paddle for nerve signals. Normally, they make it harder for a cell to fire an electrical signal in a good way, but endosulfan binds to the inside of the receptor and physically blocks GABA receptors from working. And because of that, neurons remain in the state of hyperexcitability, making them uncontrollably fire more signals.
Hey, Dr. Scientist, are we still looking for the pizza tonight, or?
Well, looks like he isn't getting the pizza.
Thank you so much for the plain words in your explanation, Dr. Scientist. I'll make it easy for us.
Yes, of course. That is my job to make sure people understand. And moving on to the question you and your viewers were waiting for, will it affect humans? The short answer and unfortunate answer for it is yes. Endosulfan is also dangerous to humans as it targets the same GABA receptors and causes severe seizures and organ failure.
Thank you, Dr. Scientist, for letting us finally realize how dangerous it is.
Of course.
This was our great segment, Real Eyes, Real Eyes, Real Lies. Thank you for watching.
3, 2, 1.
According to the EPA, they believe that the water ratio in Riverwood will last approximately 4 to 6 weeks due to the extremely high concentration of endosulfan discovered in the Colorado River. Scientists state that the pesticide must first be removed from the water supply and surrounding sediments before normal pumping operations can safely resume. However, there are high chances the country's water supply will be impacted as endosulfan is a persistent pesticide.
For citizens wondering whether this contamination could spread beyond Riverwood, experts say that there is a high possibility that downstream regions may also experience impacts. Because the Colorado River is used often for powering irrigation, urban water supplies, and hydropower, contamination could possibly affect communities across state lines, such as Mexico. As Riverwood is currently limited to water resources, we will have to conclude that certain events, such as the annual Riverwood Half Marathon, may be canceled to prevent any health risk.
Moreover, endosulfan is highly persistent, meaning that if not decomposed correctly, it can pose long-term exposure to low levels through drinking water. These effects include the increase in cancer risk, reproductive and developmental issues, neurological disease, and more. As for now, let us hear the opinions of citizens and their take on the current situation.
Honestly worried about my family's safety. We use this water every single day for drinking, cooking, and bathing. Seeing dead fish floating everywhere makes people afraid something much worse could happen if the contamination spreads.
Business depends on tourism during the marathon season, so these cancellations are devastating financially. But at the same time, public health has to come first. Nobody wants visitors getting sick from contaminated water.
The river is a huge inspiration for local artists and photographers. A lot of our festivals and outdoor art events happen near the water, so seeing the ecosystem damaged like this is truly heartbreaking for the entire art community.
With fear and uncertainty spreading throughout Riverwood, environmental scientists are now focusing on one critical question. How can the contamination be reversed before permanent environmental damage occurs?
According to local scientists, we can reverse the effects of the contaminated river water by using specialized environmental remediation techniques. We can do so by absorbing the endosulfan itself by using activated carbon. Because endosulfan has a hydrophobic nature, it can easily be trapped within the porous structure of activated carbon. Granulated activated carbon, OE, rates by absorbing the hydrophobic pesticide molecules onto the extensive pore structure of the carbon granules as water passes through, acting as a drainer. The most common method is by pumping the contaminated water through a pressurized tank filled with the granulated activated carbon.
Granulated activated carbon is effective because not only does it rid most of the endosulfan, but it does not harm the fish population as much. We have come to the conclusion that the pollution in the river has been caused by the use of John the Farmer's pesticides.
I can't believe that my idol, Farmer John, was the person behind the pollution of the river.
Take him away.
No! I was framed! It was the alien!
One.
Ma'am, record show. Ma'am, record show. Sir. Knowing whether this contamination.
It is extremely channels.
I am so sorry to interrupt, but I just heard
Severe psychological biocycle. The gas cartography.
Endosulfan concentration
Invested. That fish.